They laughed when you fell. They mocked when you struggled. They spat their words like poison, convinced you'd stay buried beneath the weight of their ridicule. But what they didn't know was that you weren't dying. You were evolving. Every sneer, every whispered joke behind your back, every time they looked at you and saw nothing but failure, they thought it was the end of your story. But they forgot one thing. Storms don't destroy the strongest soul. They forge them. You felt the sting of their laughter, the way it cut deeper than any blade. You heard their voices late at night when the world was silent, their words crawling through your mind like venom, whispering that you weren't good enough, that you'd never be more than the sum of your failures. You let their doubt settle into your bone, and for a moment, you believed them. For a moment, you thought they were right. But tell me, when did their voices become louder than your own? When did you hand over the pen of your own story and let them write your ending? You weren't born to be small. You weren't meant to live in the shadows of other people's opinions, drowning in the weight of their expectation. But somewhere along the way, they convinced you that you were powerless, that your dreams were too big, that your fire wasn't meant to burn, and they laughed. Oh, how they laughed, thinking you would never rise, never fight back, never become more than the version of you they kept locked in a cage. But hear me now, this is not where your story ends. This is where it begins. You are not a failure. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are a force, raw and untamed, waiting for the moment you finally decide to unleash everything inside you. Because here's the truth they never wanted you to know. The people who laughed at your struggles are terrified of what happens when you stop listening to them. They fear the day you realize your own strength, because when you do, they won't be laughing anymore. You've spent too long waiting for permission to rise, too long hoping someone would see your worth, too long believing that the world's validation is what you need to move forward. But let me ask you this. How much longer will you let them decide your worth? How much longer will you live on your knees when you were meant to stand? You owe them nothing, not your silence, not your submission, not your dreams, and certainly not your pain. Because every time they mocked you, every time they doubted you, they were giving you something precious, fuel. You think this is the end? You think you've lost? Number, the only way you lose is if you let their laughter bury you. The only way you lose is if you stay down, but you won't. I know you won't. Because deep down, past the scars, past the doubt, past every broken promise and shattered hope, there's a fire in you that refuses to go out, and it's time to let it burn. Every failure was a joke to them. Every tear was their entertainment. You were a spectacle, a tragedy unfolding in slow motion, and they watched with eager eyes, waiting for you to break. They whispered behind your back, smirked when you walked into the room, and dismissed your struggles like they were nothing more than a minor inconvenience. And you started to believe them, that maybe you were the punchline to your own life, that maybe you were nothing. It didn't happen all at once. The betrayal was slow, a steady erosion of trust, like waves crashing against the shore, pulling away everything you once stood on. One moment, they were by your side, laughing with you, calling you friend. The next, their laughter turned cruel, their smiles twisted with mockery. You saw it in their eyes, the way their kindness was never real, the way they secretly reveled in your missteps. And when you fell, they didn't offer a hand. They pointed, they laughed, they made sure you knew just how far beneath them you had landed. And the worst part? It wasn't just strangers. No, betrayal always cuts deepest when it comes from the ones you trusted the most. Family, friends, the people who were supposed to stand beside you, to lift you up when the world pushed you down. Instead, they became the ones who pushed hardest. They scoffed at your dreams. Be realistic, they said. You're wasting your time. They didn't believe in you. Not really. And after hearing it long enough, neither did you. Doubt slithered into your mind, coiling itself around your thoughts like a serpent, whispering poison into your ear. Maybe they're right, it said. Maybe you aren't good enough. Maybe you'll never make it. Maybe you should stop trying. And fear. Fear was its partner in crime, holding you hostage in your own life. Fear told you not to risk it. Fear reminded you of every time you failed. Fear made sure you never even tried. So you shrank. You dimmed your light, hoping they would stop noticing you, hoping they would stop tearing you down. You silenced your dreams, locked away your ambitions, and convinced yourself that playing small was the only way to survive. But that's the thing about living in the shadows. It doesn't protect you. It only suffocates you. And still, they laugh. Because no matter how much you shrank yourself, it was never enough. They would always find something to mock. They would always find a way to make you feel like less. And the loneliness, it became unbearable. You stopped reaching out, stopped talking, stopped trying to explain yourself to people who never really listened. You felt like you were screaming into the void, desperate for someone, anyone, to understand. But no one did, or at least that's how it felt. The world moved on, and you were left behind, trapped in the ruins of your own self-doubt, haunted by the echoes of their laughter. You sat in the darkness, wondering if this was all life had to offer, wondering if this was all you were meant to be, wondering if you would ever be more than the person they saw you as. But let me tell you something. This darkness, it isn't the end of you. It is the making of you. Because every hero's story begins in the depth. Every warrior is forged in fire. And right now, you are standing at the edge of something greater than you have ever known. They thought they broke you, but they didn't know. Some things don't break. Some things only bend, only sharpen, only grow stronger. And you are one of them. So sit with the pain, feel it, let it sink into your bones. And then, remember this. One day, the ones who laughed at your struggles will be drowning in their own. And you'll be too far ahead to hear them. It's easy to let go, to slip into the silence and let the darkness have its way with you, to drown in the noise of those who never wanted you to rise, to believe that maybe, just maybe, this is where your story ends. The weight of failure presses down on your chest like a stone slab, heavy and unrelenting. You look around and see nothing but shadows, nothing but the remnants of dreams that never made it past the walls they built around you. And in the stillness, in the suffocating quiet of your own despair, you start to wonder, what's the point? You thought you had more fight in you. You thought you could push through. But life has a way of stripping you down to the bone, of testing how much you can take before you finally shatter. And now, here you are, on the floor, fists clenched, heart tired, wondering if getting up is even worth it anymore. This isn't just sadness. This isn't just frustration. This is the deep, hollow ache of knowing that you gave everything you had, and it still wasn't enough. And the voices, they are relentless. They don't just whisper now. They scream. They claw at your sanity, repeating every failure, every misstep, every moment of weakness. You're a joke, they say. You were never meant for greatness. You were never meant for more. They remind you of every time you tried and failed. Every time you put your heart into something only to watch it crumble. Every time you reached for something beyond your grasp, only to fall flat on your face. And they ask, why try again? Why keep going when history has already proven that you will fail? The temptation to surrender is overwhelming, to throw your hands up and say, fine, you win. To let the world have its way with you. To stop trying, to stop hoping, to stop believing that anything will ever change. Because when you've been beaten down enough times, when the world has chewed you up and spit you out without a second thought, it's so damn easy to just let it happen. To let yourself fade into the background, unnoticed, unseen, unimportant. Because fighting takes energy, and you are exhausted. Fighting means standing up when your legs can barely hold you. It means dragging yourself forward when every part of you is screaming to just stay down. It means choosing hope when hope feels like the cruelest joke of all. And right now, you don't know if you have it in you anymore. And that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what the world has trained you to believe, that you are powerless, that your struggle is meaningless. that your existence is nothing more than a string of disappointment, destined to repeat until you finally give in. Because the world doesn't fear your failure. The world fears your rise. They want you to stay down. They want you to believe the lie that this is all you'll ever be. Because the second you realize the truth, the second you understand that you are stronger than everything they've thrown at you, everything changes. So tell me, is this how your story ends? Is this the chapter where you fade away, where you let them win, where you let their laughter be the final sound that echoes in your mind? Or is this the moment where you decide that enough is enough? Because here's the truth. You may be at your lowest, but you are not finished. You may feel like you have nothing left, but I promise you, there is still something inside you. And when you find it, when you tap into the part of you they couldn't break, the world won't be ready for what happens next. You've spent your life swallowing the lies they fed you. Every bitter word, every sneer, every time they told you that you weren't enough. You took it in, let it settle deep in your soul, let it shape the way you saw yourself. You wore their judgments like chains, mistaking their voices for truth. But today, you spit them out. Because buried beneath their doubt is a fire they never saw coming. It starts as a flicker, a single, quiet moment of defiance. Maybe it's a whisper in the back of your mind, a voice you haven't heard in a long time. Maybe it's just a thought, so small, so fragile, that dares to ask, what if they're wrong? What if you're not weak? What if you were never broken? What if the very things they mocked you for were never flaws, but weapons waiting to be wielded? And that thought, that tiny ember of rebellion, grows. For so long you believed that pain was your enemy, that it was a curse, something to run from, something to fear. But now you start to see the truth. Pain has never been your enemy. Pain has been your greatest teacher. Pain has sharpened you, carved you into something stronger than they ever imagined. Every hardship, every betrayal, every dark night where you thought you wouldn't make it, it wasn't breaking you, it was forging you. And suddenly, you feel it, the shift, the awakening, the moment when you realize that you are still here. Despite everything, despite every person who tried to bury you, despite every lie they told you, despite every time you almost gave up, you are still standing. And that is power. The first step forward isn't dramatic. It isn't some grand, earth-shattering moment. No one notices, no one sees, but you feel it. You lift your head, you straighten your back, you decide, maybe for the first time, that you will not live for their approval anymore, that you will not shrink yourself to make them comfortable, that you will not let their laughter write your story, because the past does not define the future. What happened to you does not decide what happens next. And those who once mocked you, who doubted you, who reveled in your struggles, they will soon realize their mistake, because they laughed at a seed, never expecting it to become a wildfire. But now the fire has been lit, and nothing will stop you from rising. They thought they buried you. They thought you were done. They laughed as the dirt covered you, convinced that you would stay beneath them, forgotten, defeated. But they forgot one simple truth. Seeds grow in the dirt. And you were never meant to stay underground. Pain tried to break you, but instead it became your foundation. You no longer see it as a curse. You see it as fuel. Every wound, every scar, every moment of despair, it all feeds the fire inside you. You are no longer a prisoner of your past. You are its master. And from this moment on, you decide what happens next. Rejection? It no longer stings the way it used to. Once, their words could cut you down, make you question your worth, make you hesitate before daring to dream. But now rejection is nothing more than proof that you are aiming higher than they ever dared to. Their doubt, it is a gift. It is a reminder that you are stepping into something bigger than their small minds can comprehend. You no longer crave their approval. You no longer seek their validation, because you have found something stronger, yourself. And that's the thing they never understood. They thought you needed them. They thought you couldn't stand without their acceptance. But now, you are rebuilding, and this time, it is without them, without their empty opinion, without their permission, without their hollow praise. You no longer walk the path they set for you. You carve your own. The world tried to break you, but in doing so, it created something unshakable. You have become a warrior, not the kind who seeks revenge, not the kind who fights out of anger, but the kind who refuses to be stopped, the kind who rises no matter how many times they fall, the kind who turns every obstacle into an opportunity, the kind who knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that they were never meant to stay down. They will watch in disbelief. They will whisper, wondering how you survived. They will try to make sense of how you turned their cruelty into your strength. But it doesn't matter, because their words no longer hold weight. Their laughter no longer echoes in your mind. The only voice that matters now is yours, and it speaks one undeniable truth. You were made for more, and nothing will stop you now. Now they watch, silent, the same ones who laughed at your pain, now choke on the ashes of their doubt as you rise above them. They don't have words anymore. The ones who once called you weak, the ones who swore you'd never make it, they can only stand there watching as the truth unfolds before them. Because transformation is the one thing they never saw coming. They thought their words would crush you. They thought their rejection would keep you small. They thought their laughter would echo in your head forever, chaining you to the version of yourself they wanted you to be. But they were wrong, so wrong. You have become something unrecognizable to them. You don't flinch at their words anymore. You don't shrink when they whisper your name. You don't seek their validation, their permission, their approval. They look at you now, and for the first time, they are afraid. Not because you are seeking revenge, not because you are bitter, but because you proved them wrong without ever needing to fight them. You fought for yourself instead, and that is the greatest revenge. Not anger, not hatred, not becoming like them, but rising so high that their words become meaningless. Rising so far beyond their reach that they realize they never had power over you to begin with. Now they sit with the weight of their own doubt. Now they question everything they thought they knew about you. Now they understand. The person they mocked, the person they doubted, the person they left behind is no longer here. You have shed that skin. You have burned the old self to the ground and emerged as something untouchable. Because you are not a victim. You never were. You are only in the process of discovering your own strength. And now, you walk with the confidence of someone who knows what they are capable of. Someone who no longer waits for the world to decide their worth. Someone who is unstoppable. They laughed at your struggle. But now, they cry over their own. Because while they wasted their energy trying to break you, you were busy building something greater. While they were busy doubting you, you were learning, growing, evolving. And while they stayed the same, trapped in their small mind, in their small lives, you became everything they said you couldn't be. This is your turning point. This is the moment you step fully into who you were always meant to be. The one they doubted, the one they mocked, the one they swore would never rise. And yet, here you are, unshaken, unstoppable. And the only thing left to say, watch me now, look at you, unbreakable, unstoppable. And the best part, they can't touch you anymore, because the version of you they mocked no longer exists. You have stepped into something greater, a force they can no longer deny, no longer ridicule, no longer break. You no longer second-guess yourself. You no longer seek permission to take up space. You no longer let their words shape your reality. Because now, you own your power. You own your worth. And for the first time, you truly see yourself. Not through their eyes, not through their doubt, but through the undeniable truth of who you've always been. The old you, the one who begged for their acceptance, the one who dimmed their light just to fit in, the one who carried their words like shackles. That person is gone, burned away in the fire of your own transformation. You do not belong to your past anymore. You do not answer to the voices that once held you down. You do not carry the weight of expectations that were never yours to bear. And here's the truth they never wanted you to realize. You owe them nothing, not an explanation, not a second chance, not a glance back at the ruins they left you in. You do not exist to make them comfortable. You do not exist to prove anything to the people who never believed in you, because they were never the measuring stick of your worth to begin with. So now you rise, not with bitterness, not with vengeance, but with the quiet, unshakable power of someone who knows who they are. You walk into your greatness without hesitation. You step fully into the life you were always meant to claim, and they can only watch, because the door to your past has closed, and you are never looking back. You are the storm they never saw coming, the fire that refuses to be put out, the force that no longer bows to their expectations. You are everything they said you could never be, and now you own it. You have two choices: stay small or rise so high they'll never reach you. What will it be? This is the moment where everything shifts, the final challenge, the crossroads between who you were and who you are meant to become. You can stay where it's safe, where it's familiar, where their words still hold weight and their laughter still echoes in your mind. Or you can step forward, boldly, defiantly, into a future where they no longer matter, where their opinions are nothing but dust beneath your feet, where your power is no longer a secret even to yourself. But know this: inaction is also a choice to stay caged in their expectations, a choice to let fear win, a choice to remain the person they convinced you to be instead of the force you were born to become. And if you refuse to take action, if you hesitate, if you wait for the world to hand you permission, then you will stay exactly where they left you, wondering, regretting, watching as time slips through your fingers while they move on, never once thinking of you again. But you are not meant for a life of regret. You are not meant to fade into the background. You are meant to carve a new path, to step fully into the power you've always had. Close your eyes and see it, the vision of your future self, the one who never bows, the one who stands tall, the one who silences doubt with nothing but undeniable success. That is the real you, the you they tried to break, the you they never wanted to face. So this is it, the final push, the last moment before you choose. No more waiting, no more doubting, no more playing small. The world does not give power to those who hesitate. It bows to those who claim it. So tell me, what will it be? Will you let them win? Or will you rise so high they'll never reach you again? This is your moment. Take it.